Hello, y'all. So what had happened was, I when they had the TikTok ban, I deleted the app, and so I didn't know that you can download the app again. I didn't know that. So I was like, "Oh, I'm about to download this app." Okay, per right, because I just found out yesterday. I was like, "Oh wow, all the stuff I could have been doing because I've been uploading TikTok videos on my like work computer, and so yeah." And so, it's been a while since I've been able to give the tea, right? We have to eventually get to at least 300 followers so I could be able to do lives and really give like the tea and my input. But anyway, so I'm on Twitter like usual. And, we had another diaspora war. We always have diaspora wars. And I just find it kind of funny because, Black Americans' culture is very weird because we don't have necessarily tribes. However, depending on what state you're in, there's very specific kinds of, culture or history. Like Juneteenth, oh my God, Juneteenth started in Texas, right? I didn't know nothing about Juneteenth. And then it became a government holiday. I didn't know nothing about it. I was like, what is this, right? There's other types of holidays, other types of cultures, depending on where you're at. And so in New Orleans, I knew about Creole, right? That's one of like the most known types of cultures there. But I didn't know the full extent of various different types of cultures in New Orleans. And it's like 2 hours away from me, from in being in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. So when I get on Twitter, I'm seeing, these black people and they dressed up, with black paint and stuff, talking about Zulu warriors. And the one group of people that are offended by it are South Africans, because Zulu warriors are from South Africa. Now, the thing that always perplexes me about South Africans, I put South Africans with black people from the UK. Because the South Africans also went through their own version of like the Jim Crow era, like their own version of segregation. Like, if you take what happened in South Africa, the apartheid, and you take what happened here in the United States with the Jim Crow era, and literally it's like copy and paste, like black here, white here, European here, African here. Like, it's copy and paste. Yes, they had differences, of course, in Africa, but it's literally the same thing. And of course, the UK girlies, they just like putting themselves in a situation because most of the time when we're talking about diaspora wars, it's with people who are black straight from Africa and then black people in the United States of America. And then we probably have like Jamaicans, Bahamians, the black people from the islands and stuff like that. But no one's really talking about the UK girls because we really forget that they exist, right? And so they always insert themselves in the conversation, right? And so I felt that South Africans, they've always had an issue with Black Americans, even before this particular type of issue, because of what happened with Tyler, right? And it's getting kind of tired, right? Now, I'm not saying that it's right, if, South Africans feel some type of way about it, they have a right to say, okay, maybe this is weird. However, it's not opening anything for discussion. Nothing is being opened up for people to be able to discuss in a proper manner. And it gets to a certain point where I'm like, okay, it's not the end of the world, okay? And as a black American, it gets to a certain point where I'm just like, how many times are we supposed to care about what's going on in the African world, right? Because what Africans don't understand is that a good amount of black Americans are just as prideful as they are, right? And there's not going to be any bending down, there's not going to be any room for discussion. Because if you're going to sit there and tell me I have no culture, you're going to sit there and put me down, you're going to sit there and say that I'm not cultured, or the only way that I'm actually cultured or actually of worth is by finding out how African I am, then we're not going to have a conversation, right? At first I cared. I was like, okay, the Zulu warrior thing, that was pretty bad. Like, oh my gosh, this is unfortunate for them. Like, we need to have a better discussion. But then after a while, seeing the comments, I was like, you know what? Fuck South Africans. Fuck y'all. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down. Well, I'm going to sit 10 because I'm sitting my ass down, my big ass down. But I'm going to sit 10 toes down on this one, okay? And I don't think that Africans don't have a culture or nothing like that, but it's just like, okay.